L-shaped leaves.
What number is this?
He hasn't said yet.
So on your list, we have number 239, Cercis Canadensis Alba. Microclimate again, protected location on the campus. So we saw the redbuds on the other side of the building where we were looking at the cherries, and they had no leaves on them, quite exposed. Here, still full leaf.
They look like hearts.
Yeah, they look like hearts, you know, that cordate-shaped leaf.
Yeah, they are.
So this was it's obviously the white-flowered form of Cercis Canadensis, which is typically pink. And if you remember what I talked about, you can see the little flower buds along the stems here, and they will flower in very, very early spring. And they'll outline all of the main branches with these little white pea-type flowers. And that's fairly unusual for a plant to actually flower and produce shoots on old wood, like very old wood. A lot of trees won't do that. If you prune it back to here, it won't produce new shoots unless it comes from an axle or something. But it's very rare to see flowers along the stem. Once it does flower, remember that the seed pods, they're falling off. The seed pods, right? So you get these flat seed pods that hang down, and quite pronounced on the straight species and to a lesser degree on the cultivars. This has to be grafted, so it's grafted onto Cercis canadensis, the straight species.
What's the difference between this and the royal white?
The royal white is just got a little bigger flower and a little more floriferous. So this was kind of the first kick at the can on a white, and then royal white is an improved cultivar of this.
Is there two families for this tree too? Because when I researched it, because my plant, there's two family names.
Fabaceae and
There's one that starts with an L. I can't remember what it was, so it started with an L.
Yeah, there's been quite a bit of reclassification of plant families. Yeah. So you've really got to dig a little. Missouri Botanic Gardens. What's the plant site, Dave? What were you using in the summer? Do you remember?
Missouri Botanic.
Yeah, what was the plant, the database that we were checking? I forget the name of it. Tropicos, thank you. So if you go to the Missouri Botanic Gardens and you go to the Tropicos site, that's kind of gives you the latest updates in family names and plant names. It's only good for genus and species, it won't do anything for cultivars. But if you're confirming plant names. There's probably, this is probably a bee that's harvesting the leaves for its nest. They're leaf cutter bees, and they harvest this material, take it into the nest, and I think they process it somehow and grow something off it to feed their young. But leaf cutter bees are usually solitary bees. Okay. But understory tree again, Cercis canadensis, and it doesn't matter what cultivar it is, typically weak wood because of the weak crotches, the way it grows up in here. So you have a lot of problems where the wood actually splits away, especially in ice storms and such. But nonetheless, a great tree, one of my favorites.